Hey, Mike, what do Kelly Slater and PT have in common?
I don't know. They're both world champs?
Nope, they both own Endless Summer box set.
Oh my God, rad. You guys, you can get it too. The link's in the show notes.
Went down to Waimea Bay. What a fantastic sunny day. Boys and girls hanging round. Surfers going up and down. That's when I caught my wave. Knew what to do. Surf that wave right to the shore. And yes, dreams come true.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Quivercast. I am Mike, your host. Let's get into the show. All right, hello everyone. This is Mike, and we are here with the Quivercast, and we are excited. The freshest cold water classic champion here, Michael Dunphy. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing well. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Dude, stoked. By the way, your Instagram's like fabulous. Like a lot of good surfing going on. But your friends are calling you Mike. Do you like to go by Mike or Michael?
I like Michael better. Mike.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of seems like a crunchy name, but yeah, either one works.
Okay. All right, Michael. So how was the Cold Water Classic? Let's start there. And I watched your heats. It was good.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was, staying with Nat Young up there, and he's, of course, like the local king of Santa Cruz and of the West Side at the lane. So
yeah,
he's one of my better friends, and I was more just having a good time with him and Kolohe, and we were all surfing and hanging out. The contest was kind of a sideshow a lot of the week, just to our laughs and our good times that we were having. So it kind of just seemed like that rolled into doing well in the event.
So you weren't like hyper focused on like winning heat to heat, or were you more of a good time and that kind of translated to you ripping?
I didn't have any crazy expectations or super nervous or anything like that going to that event. It was more just I like going to Santa Cruz and spending my time up there with those guys and surfing the lane. So it was more just I took the pressure off, and obviously that seemed to work pretty well.
Dude, rap. And now you're sitting first place in North America QS.
Yeah. So that was a little cherry on top for sure to be up in the top there.
Wow. That's like, I mean, so the whole North American tour, that's over too, right? So you locked that position in?
No, there's another 3 events that actually carry into the springtime. There'll be one in Pismo and Barbados ends the North American season.
I should know that.
No, you're good. It's kind of confusing, the whole new system.
Because it's 2024, right? 2023, 24.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, so it's a little different.
Okay, cool. Still hot in the front, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Out of those 3 events, which one are you looking forward to the most?
Oh, Barbados is always a good one at Soup Bowl. That wave's world class, and warm water. I've been going there for a long time, so that's one of my favorite spots.
Okay, cool. Let's go way backwards. Did you grow up in Virginia Beach?
Yeah, I grew up in Virginia Beach as a kid. Yeah, born and raised there, learned how to surf there, and that was my initiation into surfing was Virginia Beach. The waves aren't the best, as you probably know, and the winters are cold, so I had a strong desire to travel.
How old are you when you started surfing?
I was about 7 to 8 years old when I got into it. I boogie boarded at first, and just kind of loved being in the ocean and surfing. So then transformed into longboard and shortboard and all that.
Where was your local go-to place there?
First Street Jetty of Virginia Beach, where they have the event at every year.
Yep.
Back then there was like a little bit of more of like a heavy kind of crowd too, if you will. So it was always it was a lot of characters, so it was fun.
What do you mean, like localized heavy? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, kind of. Like, well, I mean, being a young kid, it probably seemed more heavy than it was, but there was there was definitely some funny characters growing up surfing at First Street, and it's kind of a free for all nowadays. So I'd like to think there was a bit more order back then.
What do you mean it's more of a free for all?
Just like there's foam boards flying
Okay.
everywhere. Like there's just it's
A lot of beginners. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, definitely.
So you kind of had to earn your spot then back in the day.
It felt like it, but I was just a young kid, so I was just taking scraps. And learning to surf there was great though, because it was like learning how to walk before you could run.
There you go. Okay. And who are some of the guys you're looking up to?
As a kid, looking up to Raven Lundy, Jason Port, Wes Lane, Mike Shermer. Philip Gould was closer to my age, and we were surfing together. So we had a thick crew of there's a lot of really good surfers coming out of Virginia Beach. Our waves aren't the best, but the talent runs deep there.
But you guys do get good waves. I've been there when the waves have been really good, actually.
Yeah, it gets fun.
It has
We
its
have
days.
it has its days, hurricane seasons, and the Outer Banks are close by, so we do have our moments.
Yeah. Okay. But you're spending a lot of time in Florida now? Or where you spend a lot of time?
I'm in New Smyrna Beach, Florida now, most of the time when I'm not traveling. We get fun surf down here. Winters are a lot more mild than up there, and we only pretty much wear a 3-2 all winter long. So it's I enjoy it. I enjoy being down here.
Do you miss Virginia Beach?
Yeah, certain things. I miss the people, and I still go back and visit a few times a year, and still have a lot of really good friends there. So they come down here and visit. I'll come up there and visit them. So I still feel like I have a part of me there.
In Virginia, the times I've been there, the First Street jetty has a lot of people sometimes, but
Mhm.
the rest of the area is kind of wide open. Is Florida as wide open as that?
As far as
Like people-wise surfing. If you get away from the
yeah,
jetty, it's kind of open.
yeah, we kind of have the similar thing down here where New Smyrna Inlet is busy with a lot of surfers coming from all over the state. But if you
Yeah.
go venture out to the state parks or just kind of down in front of more of the main part of New Smyrna, it's pretty empty.
So you can still find a nugget somewhere here and there.
Yeah, definitely.
The QS for you, do you really enjoy competing?
Yeah, I do. I would say, of course, there's times when you maybe don't enjoy it as much, just if you're far away from home and not doing well and stuff like that. But for the most part, I do enjoy it.
You've been traveling a long time, right?
Hmm.
Do you really appreciate your time being home, or do you feel like you have to be on the road and you love that?
No, I think as I've traveled more and more, I do enjoy the downtime of being home in between. Like the being on the road all year round isn't sustainable after a while. Like you have to come home and reset and take a breather. And I'm kind of learning that more as I get older. But traveling and surfing and doing all the competition and all that stuff definitely takes it out of you emotionally, physically. So coming home and resetting, I think, is crucial.
What are your other hobbies you do? And I know one of them is pretty rad.
Yeah, I've been learning how to fly on my free time down here. I've really taken a liking to that. I kind of see that as maybe somewhere I could take a career after surfing as the
Oh,
sun
cool.
sets on this side. I think that would be something cool to keep me on the road, and something that I'm passionate about would be maybe an easier transition than sitting in an office or doing something like that.
What got you into flying?
My girlfriend's dad actually took us up flying one night. We got up there and just in the freedom of it, and knowing that we have the Bahamas close by and a lot of different Caribbean islands, that really excites me to think about, like going and exploring that a bit on my own. That would be kind of a dream. So yeah, that was the start of it. That was during COVID. I didn't have much going on, so that kind of clicked for me then, and that's when I'm starting to learn how to do it. It's been a few years now.
Is it hard?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's
Okay.
you got to be sharp, and you got to do your busy, like just be organized and stay
Okay.
focused. Yeah,
And have you flown by yourself now?
I have only
Yeah.
for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah,
What
but that
what
was
was the
pretty cool.
feeling like?
The feeling was I was actually pretty calm considering, because it was like almost like you didn't really have anyone else to rely on. So it was like you don't have any option but to just be calm and be locked in and make sure you know what you're doing. So fun. I enjoyed it. I look forward to getting more and more into it as I step out of surfing.
A little more about that though, because I'm totally intrigued by it. So you're by yourself and you know that, so you have to mentally prepare for that. I guess, correct? Or you already, like you said,
Yeah.
calm, so it didn't matter.
Well, yeah, like they take you up a few times on that day, and then
Of
they're like,
course.
okay, he's feeling calm. The conditions are right. He's got everything dialed. And then the instructor's like, all right, I'm going to jump out, and you're going to go take it for a rip on your own. And you kind of know that day's coming. Or you kind of feel like, I mean, that day I was like, I think this would be the time you would do that. So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. He's like, all right, drop me off over here, and then you go for it. And, yeah, it was something I'll never forget.
Did you have a flight plan already planned out, or did you just kind of go up there and cruise around and come back down?
Yeah, I just stayed in New Smyrna area, like their airspace. So I wasn't
Okay.
actually taking a trip anywhere. It was like a perfect evening, no wind, like, beautiful night. And I just cruised around New Smyrna, like out over the ocean and back and up and around a few times, couple landings, went back, did it for like an hour and a half.
Actually, let's talk about that. And maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but I got to. Do you feel more safe flying over land or over the water? Just in case there is an emergency, like where do
Yeah,
you feel more comfortable?
I'd say over the land, but flying over the water, if something does happen, you could put her down and you'd be all right. Like those things, you can land them on the water, but every time you're flying, you're always looking in the back of your head if this engine quits. Because if the engine quits in a single engine airplane, you turn into a glider basically. So you have, X amount of time, a minute, 2 minutes, to where you keep your airspeed at a certain level and you're gliding into the ground. So you're always looking to see, this engine quits, where am I going to go? Oh, there's a golf course, there's a field, there's a highway. You always have that in the back of your mind. So if that does happen, you click in, you know where you're going to be.
Cool. How many flights have you been on, you think, in your life? Traveling the world?
Like commercial flights.
Commercial flights.
It's funny. I'm actually almost at 1 million miles with American.
Woo! Wow.
So that gives you an idea. Yeah, I should actually be really close there now. But yeah, it's been a freaking whirlwind for sure. Yeah.
Has anything funny ever happened or anything crazy ever happened? And with that many flights, something.
Yeah, I had food poisoning one year flying back from South Africa, and it hit me right on the takeoff. And I remember I went for the bag, the little throw-up bag on the front of your seat, and it wasn't there, and I had a beanie on. Pulled that off, threw up in it. And then Luke Davis was sitting right next to me. He had a beanie on. I grabbed his beanie, threw up in that, and then started running to the back of the plane with these two throw-up beanies. And, this is when we're like still, climbing, like, when you're supposed to be in your seat. And the flight attendants are like, oh, like, you can't be up. And I'm like, I feel like shit. Like, and then it's just this like funny scene. It wasn't funny at the time, but looking back on it, it's pretty crazy.
Wow. So you just head into the bathroom. How was the rest of the flight back? Just shitty? Literally?
It was pretty shitty. Yeah. It was from Johannesburg to New York. So that's like one of the longest flights of the world. And
oh my God.
That was the first, 5 minutes of the flight. So I wasn't really set up for success on that one.
No. Traveling around the world, you said Barbados is one of your favorite places to surf. Where else do you really enjoy?
Yeah.
Either going and B, surfing. They can be different.
Mm-hmm. I enjoy the Caribbean. I enjoy Barbados, and a lot of the West Indies islands are always fun to visit. They're so pretty. Most beautiful place in the world. And Indonesia is always great. That one's a staple of, always try and go there every year. And then Australia as well. I love Australia. I think just the people and the waves and just the whole culture there is awesome.
Do you think that Australia and our culture of America are similar?
I think their culture is a little bit more laid back and a little bit more like ocean centric and healthier and active, whereas maybe ours isn't as much. Australia, they like surfing's like a mainstream sport, whereas back here, no one's really knows what's going on besides us.
Okay. Is that changing? Do you
Um,
think?
yeah, I think between the WSL and all the all the different lead, like big wave stuff. I think there's more visibility of surfing now, probably more than
Okay.
ever in the States. But it's still not like Australia.
Okay. And the Olympics too. I mean, that's going to help, I think, in
Yeah,
the near future.
yeah, that's definitely blowing it up. That's been huge.
Do you think we should be aiming towards, middle America or middle of the world to watch surfing? Should we care as surfers? Especially you being a pro surfer. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, there's two different ways to look at it. Like the one side of me who just loves to go surfing
Okay.
and doesn't enjoy, surfing in a lot of crowds and all that stuff is like, nah, we don't need middle America. I don't want the word to spread anymore. Let's kind of keep this to ourselves. But then the other side of it is, oh, I'm a sponsored surfer and I want,
Right.
more money to come into the industry and therefore, more successful deals to come our way. So I don't know, it's a tough one. I understand both sides of it.
Yeah. And probably every other day, you probably, mine changes, even for me. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Because it's like our special little baby. And if it gets too exposed and you get too many people in the water, it kind of ruins the experience a little bit. But the ocean is for everybody and everyone should be able to surf. And I don't know, it's a tough one.
speaking of, either in Florida or Virginia, or you were in Santa Cruz, which is kind of known for, have you seen the etiquette change in surfing of more people in the water and less
Yeah.
regard for the fellow man, a fellow surfer?
Yeah. It has. I just think it's not taught as much as it was when we were kids. I don't think, like when I was a kid and we were all learning how to surf, there was like a clear etiquette. Like I remember one of the local guys explained it to me. Like if you catch a wave, you're in the back of the line and then, take your turn and wait till you're up and then it's your turn. But, it's just like if you go to a half pipe and you go drop in and you do your run, then it's the next guy's turn and
Yes. Yeah.
on and on. So I think nowadays, maybe with the kids, it's not taught as much, and then they don't really realize that they're doing it, like how we were taught as kids. And yeah, it can be tough because sometimes you want to teach people too about it, and when they're kind of out of line and they don't know too much about it, you want to like explain it, but then you don't want it to come off in like a rude way to where you're the bad guy because you're like, do this, not that. So yeah, some places around the world, they have like these etiquette boards like out in front of the wave that teaches you kind of where you should be and how you should do it. So, yeah.
They have it at, I don't know, around here at Swami's or Rincon, maybe even Malibu. I don't know if they do it at Malibu. Do you think they even look at that, or do you think they even pay attention, or they even understand what it means?
A lot of times it doesn't feel like they do. I don't know. I think.
Yeah. I know we're speculating on some random guy or girl. Okay.
Yeah.
In Santa Cruz, what was your favorite wave to surf? Did you spend a lot of time up there? It seemed like you kind of do.
Yeah, I've over the years a lot. The whole west side. There's so many fun waves between the Lane and Mitchell's and Natural Bridges. Yeah, I used to sleep on Nat's couch and Rosie, and they would put me up for like months at a time in the winter, and I loved hanging out, and it was such a good time.
Where's the water colder, Virginia Beach or Santa Cruz?
Oh, definitely Virginia Beach. In the wintertime, the water dips down to like 38, 39 degrees.
Wow. So you're stoked in Santa Cruz. It's warm.
Yeah, Santa Cruz is like a hot tub. No, not really. I'm kind of a wuss now that I live in Florida. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah, the water in Virginia Beach was next level in the wintertime, and the air and the waves aren't the best. So you got to be pretty hardcore if you're surfing January, February up there.
Obviously, it thins out the crowd, right?
Yeah,
in Virginia.
It definitely does. Thankfully.
At what age did this pro career, you being a pro surfer to yourself, pop in your head like, this is what I'm doing?
It was pretty instant. Or like I remember being like 9 years old and thinking how I wanted to do it and how I could figure out a way to do it. I think it was just because I love to surf so much, it was just like, okay, how can I figure out a way to just be able to do this and not anything else really? So that was the driving force behind it.
Then we go back to what we were just talking about, that cold water. Did that motivate you to get out there in the Januaries and those colder months?
Yeah, I was still out there. I was still getting out there when it was cold, but I had like a really strong desire to travel when I was a little kid, just because I was like, oh, I can't keep doing this every winter, and so yeah, I really wanted to hit the road bad. I remember like January, February, I was just like, I gotta get out of here.
And how'd you make that happen?
Just by continuing to prove and do the events and just kind of, it was just like a strong will, really, just to become a better surfer and succeed in contests and just be able to get the runway out of there.
Was surfing contest a way for you to travel? Was that like your first lead?
Yeah, that was. And, surfing contests as a young amateur, that's like your way to sponsorship and getting your name on the map. So all that stuff leads to traveling as well. I was with Hurley at a young age. They would take us to Hawaii or take us to California and stuff. So it all kind of funneled through the contest.
And what were your parents thinking? Were they stoked, or they kind of?
Yeah, they were supportive. I think it was a little bit weird when I was starting to travel a lot, missing a lot of school, and then eventually, they started to understand it more, and I became part of the USA surf team, and that's when I think it made it feel more real, like that I could take this maybe farther than they thought.
There was a future, you mean?
Yeah, I think that's kind of when they maybe saw it more as a future.
But in Virginia Beach, is the culture, let's say Huntington Beach versus like Virginia Beach. Parents like Huntington or Sacramento, let's say, even, there's a lot of parents that are like surf centric. Is it that
Yeah.
way in Virginia Beach? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
And especially now, the parents in Southern California or even on the East Coast are a lot more surf centric, and they see that path way more now than they did 20 years ago. And especially in Virginia Beach as a kid, it was a off the wall, unorthodox path to think that I was going to take this little, First Street Jetty surfer and be a pro surfer. It was like, good luck, kid. But it wasn't like San Clemente nowadays where they're just churning out pro surfers every year to where it's like a normal thing,
Right. But you guys did have Wes Lane.
Yeah, Wes was the legend.
Happen.
Yeah, and he still is the legend of Virginia Beach. So he was the one. He was huge. So there was hope there.
Yeah. The locals had to know who Wes Lane is. Am I correct?
Oh yeah. He's a celebrity in Virginia Beach.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Brenner Van, mom and dad, soccer mentality. And you said they see there's more of a future now today, but is the future as bright as it was 20 years ago?
No, I don't think it is. I mean,
yeah.
As of now, at least, I feel bad for the kids trying to come up because the sponsorship dollars are the worst they've been, and the prize money has completely been slashed. Like, I won the Coldwater, and I think that they might have made more money in it, 20 years ago than we did this past week. So it's hard to see a future in it as a parent, and investing all this money in your kid to be a pro surfer because there's not a ton of opportunity there.
Yeah, and it's dwindling. It seems like, even though WSL does they do a great, fabulous job on what they do. Yeah, it just seems like, I don't know, it's changed.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I mean, WSL does have a great package, and I think that a lot of times, like I know skateboarding, they get real high and it's really successful, then they go in this slump for a while, then they come back up. So that might kind of be happening with surfing, and I feel like probably in the next 5 to 10 years there'll be some new emerging brands, and I'm sure the money and the sponsorship will become better again. But right now we're just in a slump.
Yeah. Even though I feel like there's more surfers than ever, and they're selling more product than ever.
Yeah, definitely.
More wetsuits, more surfboards, but maybe there's more competition too. So
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff being made overseas as well.
that's true. Okay, so the everyday guy that might surf wave pools. What are your thoughts on wave pools?
Yeah, I think they're awesome. I think they're a really good supplement to surfing. I think that they're great to have to go and visit and do. I don't think they will ever like overtake the experience we get out of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I've been to Kelly's, I've been to Waco. I haven't been to that new one in Brazil that looks really cool. But I think that being a being a surfer my whole life in the ocean and going to those, they do feel a little bit repetitive after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're
Okay.
I don't know, like we had a day at Waco and we got a bunch of waves. It was super fun, but then by the end we're like, okay, we're good. Like we
You've
could,
done that.
yeah, it's super
What do
super
you?
fun. But then it's like, yeah, we could go home now.
So, I mean, because the waves doing the exact same thing, so you can practice doing an air or whatever, or doing a turn or whatever. Then you're doing the turn in the same spot every time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it just got kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
Whereas when the waves are good in the ocean, like you can't peel me out of the ocean. Like I'll just,
Right.
it's sun up to sundown.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're surfing good Rincon, the next wave is not the same as the last wave.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, they're a great supplement. I think they're gonna, probably add a lot of cool opportunities for all of us in the surf world, and they're popping up in cool places like Dubai and Sao Paulo and Austin and all these different type of cities that we wouldn't usually travel to. So I think overall they're a great thing.
Will it ever translate to some kid from Waco learning in the wave pool? I mean, I'm sure it can happen, but what's the transition time to learn how to surf in the ocean?
That'd be difficult. Like to learn how to get really good at surfing in Waco, but then have never surfed in the ocean and then go,
Right. Figure it out.
yeah. I mean, they would be able to figure it out.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. It would be interesting to watch them move around on the ocean after having never done that, but being so good at riding a board. I don't know. That's a tricky one.
Yeah. I think the movie North Shore. I'm sure you've seen it. That's kind
Yeah.
of the storyline, right? And that's a basic
Yeah.
storyline. Then he
Rick
conquers
Kane.
basically. Yeah, Rick Kane basically conquers North Shore. I mean, there is a day, I'm sure. I just don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You see a lot more. You see a lot more kids, a lot more groms. Okay, let's talk about that. The kids coming up now. Is the level higher today than it was when you were a grom, or the same?
I don't know. That's a good debate as well. Obviously, technically, they're better.
Yeah,
in the
technically, okay.
air and all that stuff. But I think there might have been more good kids coming up back in the day than there is now.
Okay.
Maybe that could be just because of, like we were talking about, the opportunities aren't there as much. Not as many kids are sponsored, getting new boards, maybe all that stuff. I don't know. Like sometimes I'll go back and watch the contest from 20 years ago and think
Mm-hmm.
guys are surfing better than they are now in certain conditions, and vice versa. Yeah, that's a debate.
Back in the day too, let's go to another 15, 20 years ago. Surf contest where Huntington Beach, even 10 years ago when they were having the big Hurley contest at Huntington Beach, OP Pro, whatever. It was more main. They wanted the people there. They wanted the butts in the seats or on the sand to watch these events. But those are kind of going away. I guess Santa Cruz is an argument to that because everyone can sit on a cliff. Do you think that would bring more eyeballs to surfing, get more events on the established around the break, not how good the wave is?
Yeah, I think they could hit those markets a little bit better. You could do one. I think doing one in Malibu would probably crush it right there at First Point.
Yeah, that would actually.
Japan has a crazy hardcore surf scene that if you did it right over there, they'd pack out a whole beach and stadium and everything. They're freaks for it. Yeah, I think there's something to that. Like the OP Pro, used to see photos, videos from back in the day, though. It was crazy how many people were there.
Crazy.
It was flooded with people all over the beach, all over Main Street. Those riots, all that stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know exactly why. Maybe also because of the webcast now. So a lot of people that watch will just stay at home and watch it. So they're
Yeah,
not
that's
all
true.
at the beach.
Right. During the OP Pro, you had to wait a month to watch it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. You're not on your couch drinking a beer
Yeah.
watching it. Like it's hard to leave that to go down to
That's
the
a good
beach.
point.
But yeah, I think they could hit those big markets a little bit better. Yeah.
And do you think there's enough events out there? Or do you think there should be more?
Um,
QS challenge. I mean, they have 3 series now instead of just 2. Or
yeah.
even going backwards. In my opinion, I think even bringing some events with some trials, so everyone just surfs. You know, the seated guys
Yeah.
are seated, but then we all start off in the bottom, kind of work our way up.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. You know, certain events like anyone could kind of start in the trials
Yeah,
and
the
go
local
trials.
pro.
Yeah,
Or whoever.
trials the title, like how Curran used to do it, right? Remember that movie, Trials the
Yep.
title? Yeah, I just think it's hard because they have like at the CT level they have like 12 to 14-day waiting periods, and you know I'm sure those permits are expensive, and there's so many logistics behind the scene. And then there's an event, you know, the previous week somewhere else, whether it's the Challenger or something else, they're trying to schedule around, and I think it's pretty tough.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
But it's not undoable.
yeah.
What are your thoughts about the 3 series? The QS, which you're doing really well, Challenger, and then the CT. Do you like the 3-tier?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's cool how we have a lot of regional events here in North America that have been, you know, had a lot of eyeballs on them, and they've got a lot of exposure, and they've done them in some pretty good spots with, you know, Soup Bowl and the Lane and all that. So I think it's a cool 3-tier system. I think that some regions are having trouble because they don't have many events and they have like 1 or 2 1-stars, and then that qualifies the guys and girls for the Challenger and the
Right.
So like they don't maybe have fair opportunities, but you also don't want to be traveling all over the world for smaller events. So I think it's working pretty well.
Let's talk about the Challenger series. In my eyes, sometimes some of the Challenger events, I'm looking forward to watching those more than the CT events. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think Snapper last year was one of the more fun events to watch.
Yeah, but you're also seeing the guys coming up and the guys that kind of fell off tour or not, well, didn't qualify. So you're seeing, I guess, the middle guys, but I mean, it's just super interesting to me.
There's some really good battles on there. I think they could do those events in some better waves still. Like they do, it'd be cool to have one of those like in Indo or, you know, the Snapper one's cool, but yeah, they're fun to watch.
I agree. What about your equipment? You're riding the Mayhems, right?
Yeah. I've been riding the Mayhems from Matt Biolis.
How's your quiver changed over the years? Or has it, I guess?
Yeah, it's definitely changed from going from Channel Islands over to Lost surfboards. Is the designs are just a little bit different as far as like the rockers and the real technical stuff changed. But as far as like length and all the dimensions, they haven't changed too much. I've gone a little bit shorter over the last couple of years and ridden some like smaller stuff in the smaller waves. But yeah, the Mayhems are incredible. He's got so many good people on his boards, and they just churn out magic boards. It's pretty insane.
It was kind of small during the final day. Going back to the cold water event, you just had one.
Yeah,
those boards help. It seemed like, I mean, you were kind of sitting underneath both those good, the semis and the finals. And you were getting you got that one good wave. I think it was the final. You got the bigger wave.
I think that was in the semis.
It might have been the semis then. Okay. The boards seem like they work so well on those conditions.
He's got, you know, being based out of San Clemente and all those mushy waves around there, he's got the small wave stuff so dialed in, and the flatter rocker, just speed demon type of boards. So yeah, anytime the surf drops down, Matt's boards are usually flying a bit more than the rest.
Do you feel like you had an advantage? You're surfing well, dude. You were ripping. It was kind of exciting. Yeah, it was exciting. Anyhow, back to, are you riding the other kind of equipment, or are you just riding the regular thruster setup? And
mostly just thrusters. Yeah, I have a few little quads for the like round nose fish and all that sort of stuff, but I'm mostly just riding thrusters.
So it's small in Florida and you're at home, but you want to get wet. Are you going out on longboard or anything like that ever? Or
Yeah, I got
maybe
a
like
paddle.
some retro boards or something?
I got a paddle board, or I have a little fish, round nose fish that I'll ride. But I mean, I'm pretty much riding a shortboard unless it's flat.
Okay. Does that
Yeah.
ever get boring for you?
No, it doesn't. Honestly, it doesn't
Okay.
get boring. And I think I was talking to someone about this recently. I think that I enjoy surfing so much that it's fun to me any day, anywhere, really. So it's just become natural to progress and get better at it. Whereas I feel like maybe some kids these days aren't as in love with it as we used to be back in the day. It's more of like a sport.
That's a great point.
It's just something we kind of notice. I'm waking up every day and I'm looking at the charts and I'm looking at the forecast and all that to see like what's happening. Like not just for the contest, just in general, because I just love being out there in the ocean. Yeah. And I feel like that's maybe transitioning differently to where their parents are telling them where to go surf and they're putting their stickers on their boards and they're just like kind of, I don't know, doing it for the competitive side instead of just because they love it.
Maybe you don't have the answer to this. Are these second generation surfers? So dad surfed and maybe I'm guilty of this too, kind of pushing the kid sometimes too hard, thinking, well, I didn't make it, but maybe my son can or daughter can.
Possibly. Yeah. I don't exactly know, but it seems like that. Yeah.
It seems like that might be a possibility, or maybe these are just dads that were good at baseball and never surfed a day in their life, and their kids decent at surfing. I don't know.
Yeah, they're just athletic.
Yeah, is surfing a sport or is it a lifestyle?
I think it's both. Like how I was just describing. I think it's competitively it's a sport, but it is a lifestyle first and foremost. That's why we all got into it. I mean, at least all of us. That's why we got into it because it's such a good lifestyle to live.
I mean, the majority of the population, 98% of the surfers out there, never put a jersey on. Never have, even probably.
No, it's just a leisurely, fun thing to do.
Are you glad you grew up as a surfer?
Yeah.
Going back to earlier, you are a pilot. Is that considered a hobby? Do you have any other hobbies?
Between those two, I mean, I'm pretty taken up right now.
Yeah, you're booked.
Yeah. They keep me busy.
So what's your end goal for the year of the season this year? Do you have any goals or you just kind of heat by heat?
I don't have, I mean, of course I'd love to win more events and make the tour and do all that stuff, but I haven't really looked that far ahead yet because it's still got to get through this into the next year. So, yeah, just to be healthy and surfing is all I could really ask for.
Social media, what do you feel about that? Do you like it?
It's a blessing and a curse. It helps giving your brand exposure, and you can control it all on your own. And if you want to work hard at it, you can make a lot of content and do all that. But also it's not good to spend a lot of time on there, and you got to be careful of that. So there's good and bad parts to it.
Do you like the idea of just one clip, 2 clips, and then you move on to the next clip?
You like posting just a couple? You're saying?
Yeah, just posting, just in general. Do you like to do that?
Yeah.
Like, ever want to hold back maybe and then like make a movie or anything like that, or does that ever cross your mind?
Yeah, we actually have a bunch of stuff from this fall that we were thinking about putting together into like a longer thing because it was such a good hurricane season over here. So it is fun to save some stuff and make something more, that lasts a little bit longer. Yeah,
right on. All right. Well, Michael Dunphy, thank you so much for coming on the Quivercast, and congrats on the Coldwater. It was a fun event to watch.
Thank you.
Watch you. That finals day was fun. So
yeah, thanks for supporting.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So, all right, everyone. This is me and Michael Dunphy. We're out of here. Later.
What a fantastic sunny day. Boys and girls hanging round. Surfers going up and down. That's when I caught my wave. Knew what to do. Surf that wave right to the shore. And it's dreams come true. sunny day. Boys and girls hanging around, surfers going up and down. When I caught my wave, knew what to do. Surf that wave right to the shore, and yes, my dream came true.
Hey, you guys, Endless Summer box set. This thing is legit. It's authentic, numbered certificate in it. It has a 5-frame film strip from the original print. You will literally own a piece of history. It has a specially minted bronze medallion. Dude, that thing's sick. Okay, there's so much more here. Go to the show notes. There's a link on there. Go check this piece of history out. This thing's rad. Seriously. Smithsonian American History Museum has it. It took 4 years of research with 3.5 in production, all hand assembled. This thing's rad. So much to this awesome box set. Remastered DVD, sharper images than the original film, but dude, this thing's so sick. Link in the show notes.